Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have Marissa. Marissa has a bomb drop of November 23rd, 2023, and a date of marriage of 2001. Marissa had a vanisher, and she was unfamiliar with contact types. We talked about Marissa a couple of weeks ago. Marissa's husband was recently killed in a car crash. So Marissa says, I know I probably shouldn't be reaching out since my husband passed. And so the first thing I am going to say to you, Marissa, is stop saying that, honey. You can reach out. You are grieving. You are a left behind spouse. And I am sorry to have to say that you are a widow now too. You are a widow. And you didn't get the closure, did you? And you're left hanging. No, you belong here too. Don't start feeling like you don't belong because he's gone in a different way. He was first gone in the same way all of our husbands and wives are gone with their midlife crisis. Or if you're doubting it, there are others out there doubting it. You're gone with the infidelity, with the confusions. Gone. Without the closure. You are another left behind spouse. Left with questions. And now he's gone in the other kind of way as well. Not just gone, but in addition to that way. So you don't get the answers unless you find them in a diary or from another person. But you don't ever get to talk to him in the same way we may get the information from ours. And I'm sorry for that. But that does not mean that you don't belong here also. You still have a story to tell, and you still have repair work to do, and you still have the same pieces of the story that we do. You just have another part of it that I know you hope and we hope we don't get. Because nobody wants that, right? So she says, but I'm having a hard time with his death and his midlife crisis. Yeah, honey, who wouldn't? You're normal, okay? Congratulations. Having a hard time is normal. And you're reacting and responding in the way that you should be because you're normal. And it's something that's going to be hard. As she says, I have no closure, and I probably won't ever. You have to figure it out for yourself. I know. But I feel like he hated me. And given what you say next, you don't have the evidence for it. You don't have the evidence for or against it. You're working with an absence. I know that you're thinking it because of that, though. Because of the absence of evidence, you're just adding in. So, you feel like he hated you because when I cleaned out his apartment, there was no indication that I or our marriage ever existed. So no one that knew him now, unless he told them, could tell that he'd been a married man at one point, right? Or that he'd been even recently married. Or that he was still married and hadn't finished his marriage, because I believe you hadn't divorced him yet, right? It wasn't finalized. I don't even know if you were in a divorce process or not. Right? He didn't tell anyone. Or if he did, they thought, well, that's just something that's being drawn out. Or maybe they thought it was mutual. Okay? Most of the stuff that I got him was gone. It was like being in a stranger's place. Nobody reached out to me from his life as if I was long gone. So when you say nobody reached out to you from his life, do you mean from the life where you both knew each other? Because it was as though you were long gone. So when you had mutual friends or his family, they might not know what to do or say. They might not know what your feelings were based on what he told them. So we can't know what I don't want to say what they know, but it's more what they think. And that might be why. And people who just became friends in the last 2 years spoke about him as though they were his best friends. Because that is his new circle of friends. He had a whole new circle, and sure, they'd only known him for 2 years. But if you'd been dating somebody for 2 years, and you'd met them at the first part of that, you'd probably feel pretty close to them. So maybe they'd been inseparable from these new friends for only 2 years, but 2 years. It's not forever. It's not your 30-year friendship, but you still feel close. She says, I'm baffled, and I'm questioning whether it was MLC or was I just awful. So you aren't having any evidence that you're awful in this. All you're having evidence of is you're absent. And so that you've been erased, which is, yeah, I know that's awful in itself, but it's not saying anything about you. It's not about you, is what it means. He erased you. And you're saying, well, he must have erased me because he hated me. And you're saying, he must have erased me because I am awful. Maybe he erased you for a different reason. Okay? Maybe he erased you for things going on in his own head, that his confusion about the traumas that he is dealing with and that he can't handle. Maybe he erased you because of what the memories do to him and the guilt and the shame. I don't know. Maybe he had to bury. I'm just coming up with stuff, okay? Sometimes I can sense it when I see a person, or if I talk to a person. We talk about their shame and we feel their shame, or we see it in them. And so I don't know in your case. But I know that many MLCers do have this. And so somebody who feels that may want to bury it. Because if it's that great, I don't want to feel that. They want to numb it. And maybe thoughts of you bring up their guilt, their shame. They feel like such a bad person. And maybe it's because of what they've done to you. Or maybe it's deeper. What they've done to you is just the surface of now, maybe. But maybe you remind them of that other life. And that other life goes back to deeper roots. So that's not really about you, but about the things that you trigger, which isn't about you at all. But how long have you been together? You've been together since 2001 as a married couple, or at least legally married. But were you there when he was 17? What did you see then? Those sort of things. Were you present for some of these traumas? And I don't mean even that you saw him in trauma. It's not about whether you were there for his traumas, but about whether you knew him during that period. Because that could just simply be a trigger. Anything that was in his life. And you're the closest thing to him. I don't know if that's it. There are so many things that could be going on. What is it? We're all going to be baffled by what's going on with a crisis, and we don't get the answers when they're gone permanently. I don't think you were awful, and I don't know you. Most of us probably aren't awful. And every single one of us, I'm just going to guarantee it because I'm putting out a pretty wild guess here that none of us are perfect. So you weren't perfect. You messed up. But no, I don't think you were going to be. You were awful. And I don't think he hated you, because do you know what it takes to hate? It takes a lot of energy. And he wasn't giving it to you because you stated that he was a vanisher. Do you know what hatred does? Hatred gives energy back. And I don't think he was as indifferent as you're going to think either then. I think he was trying to forget. And you can take that badly if you'd like, but don't. Instead, take it for what it is in his psyche, rather than for what it means to you, about you. What is it about him? Now, because this is for your healing, but he's trying to forget you, not because of who you are, because it wasn't about you. Remember, this is about his crisis and why he's broken. And when it comes to somebody else's psyche and somebody else's development, unless you're their mommy and you were some abusive horror, or the step monster, and I meant monster, that sort of thing, we didn't break him. You didn't break him. Okay? We don't break other people. Okay? That's not what you do. We don't have that kind of power over the other person. You have power over yourselves. Okay? And so you weren't that awful. And he didn't have the hatred for you, because oftentimes those who have hatred will come back to poke at you and poke at you and poke at you. Or do something to make life bad for you because they hate you so much. They want you to pay. They want vengeance. They just do. And he wasn't being indifferent, probably because he was focused on himself and trying to forget because it hurt too much to remember. And yeah, I don't know that. I am just guessing. And you can ask the friends, but the friends who just met him and have never heard of you and were just like superficial partiers and didn't really know stuff or just knew the surface, they might not know anything. They didn't dig deep enough or see deep enough to really look in and see that there was something deeper going on that he was avoiding. And the other friends, maybe they didn't know anything because he was telling them a different story. Maybe if they hear your story, it might take a while, because often the story they hear first, they're going to click in and latch onto that. And it takes a while for that for them to get all of their pieces unlatched. And so what can they tell you? You're suspect for a long time, probably. Maybe eventually. Those who felt more neutral or were wondering about you, or like, I wonder how Marissa's doing. I wonder how she's doing. How's she doing with that? I feel really bad for her. Those ones, if there are any of those ones. If his friends had a wife, and that wife is watching, going, I miss her. I wonder how she's doing. Is she okay? That's the one who might have information for you. And she might not, but I mean, she might at least be there to say, I'm so sorry. I didn't think what was happening was good. And I really felt for you. And I wished that you hadn't been cut off. But she was stuck as the partner, just getting strung along. And that happens too. But none of it because he tried to forget. It's kind of like a drug. He was a vanisher. And I don't know if he was trying to forget with partying and high energy lifestyle, or with being depressed, or with both. Maybe he was drinking himself and partying some of the time, or drinking alone some of the time, or doing both. Could be all of those. But he was trying to forget something, because he cut you out. He cut his wife of 20 years out, and he wasn't even divorced. So it cut her out so much that some people, it appears, didn't even know of your existence, or at least if they did know, they couldn't tell by looking at his apartment. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that. And it feels very hurtful, doesn't it? But you're taking your feelings and emotions and putting them into what he is feeling. And it's about him. Does that make it selfish on him? Sure, it does. But it's about his pain. And it's about his trauma and how he was broken. Rather than about anything about how he felt about you. And how he really felt about you might be different than that. And who knows, he may have also been doing some of this to protect you. And it's a silly way to do that. But in some ways, they do it that way anyway. I have to get away to protect her from the monster I think I am. Some do that. I feel like there's a monster inside of me, and I have to get away to protect her because I'm becoming somebody that I don't want to be. I'm becoming a hateful person. I'm being terrible to her. I have these awful thoughts. I have to protect her. She doesn't deserve me. And they martyr themselves. So there's that too. There's a lot of different things it could be. But almost none of them, or none of them, are about him hating you or you being awful. Okay? And you can reach out. You can go to the forum. You can go to the Facebook page. We are here for you. You still belong. Okay? You're loved and you're worthy, and you are a person in need, just like the rest of us. Okay? So hugs to you, grace to you, blessings to you. Okay? And to the rest of you, please, if you see Marissa out there, I don't know that she is on the Facebook page, but if you do see her, welcome her and give her a hug, okay? Because I know she needs it. And thank you all for being out there. And I will see you